What up, y'all? This is your boy, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo, and you're listening to the Entertainment Report on iHeartRadio, live from Dubai for Monday, August 10th, 2015, delivering some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo, that's RAYMELO, or on Twitter at The Enter Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to the page. Hopefully everyone had a fantastic weekend. Frank Gifford, the dashing halfback with the NFL's New York Giants, who parlayed his stint in the Big Apple limelight into a successful Monday Night Football broadcasting career, has died. He was 84. Gifford died Sunday at his Connecticut home of natural causes. He is survived by his third wife, former Liveway Regis and Kathy Lee host Kathy Lee Gifford, who now serves as co-host on the fourth hour of NBC's Today Show. His family said in a statement, "It is with the deepest sadness that we announce the sudden passing of our beloved husband, father, and friend Frank Gifford. We rejoice in the extraordinary life he was privileged to live, and we feel grateful and blessed to have been loved by such an amazing human being. We ask that our privacy be respected at this difficult time, and we thank you for your prayers." A college star at USC and a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Gifford worked on ABC's Monday Night Football broadcast from 1971 to 1998, serving as a steady play-by-play straight man while sharing the booths with partners that included Howard Cosell and Dandy Don Meredith. When ABC started the Monday Night franchise in 1970, it was Keith Jackson doing the play-by-play opposite Meredith, a former Dallas Cowboy quarterback, and Cosell, a bombastic, egotistical former lawyer. However, ABC Sports chairman Root Arledge was dissatisfied with that team's chemistry, and for the second season, he sought a contrast to Cosell. Gifford, who was doing NFL games for CBS, came aboard, and his modest, low-key approach proved to be a perfect complement to the abrasive Cosell. Gifford told American Film Magazine in 1979, "I enjoy working with them, and I get involved in some of the hilarity, if you want to call it that. But I obviously can't get too involved too much because I'm busy doing what I'm doing, and that is keeping the telecast straight." Over the years, ABC brought in, at one time or another, such personalities as O.J. Simpson, Fred Williamson, Alex Karras, Frank Tarkenton, Joe Namath, Dan Deerdorf, and Al Michaels to work with games with Gifford. In 1995, Gifford was the recipient of the Pete Rozelle Award, which acknowledged his exceptionally long contributions to radio and television and pro football. Gifford, who won an Emmy Award as TV's Outstanding Sports Personality for 1976 to 1977, also hosted Wide World of Sports programs and ABC sports specials like Battle of the Network Stars. He covered the 1972, 1976, and 1984 Summer Olympics, as well as the 1976, 1980, and 1984 Winter Olympics. Gifford also served as a guest host of ABC's Good Morning America, paired with Joan London while David Hartman was away, and he appeared regularly on the program during the football season with reports. In addition to writing several magazine articles on sports and sportscasting, Gifford authored several books, including 1976 Gifford on Courage, about the 10 most courageous athletes he knew. Gifford had his own courageous side, returning to the Giants after being forced to sit out 18 months after he suffered a concussion and fractured 2 vertebrae in his back while he was blindsided during a pass play by Philadelphia Eagles linebacker Chuck Bednarik in November 1960. Walt Disney Company Chairman and CEO Bob Iger said in a statement, "Frank Gifford was an exceptional man who will be missed by everyone who had the joy of seeing his talent on the field, the pleasure of watching his broadcasts or the honor of knowing him. His many achievements were defined by a quiet dignity and a personal grace that is seldom seen in any arena. He truly embodied the very best of us." Frank's contributions to ABC Sports and our company are immeasurable, and we are honored to call him a Disney legend, and I am very fortunate to have called him a dear friend and colleague. Gifford was born on August 16, 1930 in Santa Monica, California, the son of an oil well driller. His family lived in a pre-prophetic existence, and he graduated from Bakersfield, California High School, then attended Bakersfield Junior College. As a handsome halfback at USC, In Los Angeles, Gifford was the personification of Mr. Touchdown in the early 50s. He was selected an All-American as a running back and defensive back. When he graduated with a degree in industrial management in 1951, Gifford married his college sweetheart, Maxine Etwart, who had been named Helen of Troy, the school's most beauticious, accomplished female student. Their marriage lasted 26 years. He began his show business career while at USC when he doubled for Jerry Lewis in the comedy That's My Boy in 1951 and appeared in Bonzo Goes to the College in 1952. Soon afterwards, he was the number 1 draft pick of the Giants in 1952 and received a $250 signing bonus. Gifford, who was 6'1" and weighed 197 pounds, began his career with the G-Men playing both offense and defense and made 8 Pro Bowl appearances and 5 trips to the NFL championship game. In 1956, he was named the league's most valuable player as New York won the NFL title with the victory over the Chicago Bears. He also played in the famous December 1958 title game won in overtime by the Baltimore Colts. That game transformed the NFL into a big-time league for the first time. Giants president John Mara said in a statement, "Frank Gifford was the ultimate Giant. He was the face of our franchise for so many years. More importantly, he was a treasured member of our family." As the pro game took off, Gifford, playing in the media capital of the world, had his own pregame TV show and a radio program. He appeared in magazine articles for Lucky Strike cigarettes and pitched products for hair tonic, swimwear, sherry, and shaving cream. While still with the Giants, he signed a contract with Warner Bros. For film and TV roles and hired an acting coach. During the height of his career, he began doing a 5-minute sports show for the CBS radio network. When a newspaper strike hit New York City in 1962, the evening newscast doubled their airtime to 30 minutes, and WCBS asked Gifford to do the sports segment. Gifford worked for the first Super Bowl for CBS in 1967. In 1968, Gifford played himself in the NFL comedy paper Line, starring Alan Alda as sports writer George Plimpton, and he had cameos as himself in 2-Minute Warning in 1976, Viva Knievel in 1977, and Jerry Maguire in 1996. He also appeared on such TV shows as Hazel, Captain Kangaroo, The $6 Million Man, Coach, Webster, and Spin City. Frank and Kathy Lee met on the set of ABC's Good Morning America and were married in October 1986. Their marriage survived the 1997 incident in which a tabloid newspaper paid a former flight attendant to seduce the broadcaster and then published stories and photos about the affair. And in 2013, a book written by former Johnny Carson attorney Harry Bushkin claimed that Gifford had an affair with Joanne Carson, the Tonight Show's host's second wife, in the 1970s while he was married to Maxine. Gifford was also married to fitness trainer Astrid Lindley from 1978 to 1986. In addition to his wife, Gifford's survivors include 3 children with Maxine, Jeffrey, Kyle, and Victoria, and 2 with Kathy Lee, Cody and Cassidy. Hollywood paid their respects to gridiron great Frank Gifford. Kathy Lee Griffith tweeted, "Deeply grateful to all for our outpouring of grace. We're steadfast in our faith and finding comfort in knowing where Frank is." Philippians 4:13. Kendall Jenner tweeted, "Very sad day. Rest in peace to my godfather, the legend Frank Gifford." Donald Trump tweeted, "Wonderful Frank Gifford had just passed away at age 84. He was my friend and a truly great guy. Warmest condolences to family." Ellen DeGeneres tweeted, "Sending love to Kathy R. Gifford over the loss of her husband Frank. You are in our thoughts today." NFL great Michael Strahan tweeted, "RIP the great Frank Gifford, pioneer on and off the football field, and a sad day for me. Thoughts and prayers to the Gifford family." Donald Faison tweeted, "RIP Frank Gifford." While Lance Bass tweeted, "My heart goes out to Kathy Lee and the family right now. Hall of Famer Frank Gifford has passed at age 84. Today's show, weatherman Al Roker tweeted, "We lost a great friend, father, husband, and legend. Most of all, a terrific human being, Frank Gifford, Kathy Lee's beloved, passed this AM." Questlove tweeted, "Frank Gifford, hashtag RIP." Academy Award-winning actress Marlene Matlin tweeted, "My condolences to Kathy R. Gifford on the passing of sports great Frank Gifford. Thoughts and prayers to you and the family." Tiki Barber tweeted, "Rest in peace, Frank Gifford, one of our Giants greats." Tom Arnold tweeted, "RIP my G-Man and broadcast hero and great guy Frank Gifford, and all my love to my friend Kathy R. Gifford and family for taking care of my man." Maria Shriver tweeted, "Frank Gifford was an awesome gentleman. My prayers are with Kathy R. Gifford and their kids." Shannon Sharp tweeted, "So sorry to hear Hall of Famer sports broadcasting legend Frank Gifford passed away this morning. My prayers go out to his family." Mark McGrath tweeted, "Sorry to hear of Frank Gifford's passing. Trojan alum, one of the greats at Giants of all time. Thoughts and prayers to at Kathy R. Gifford." Nancy Sinatra tweeted, "So sorry to hear of the passing of Frank Gifford, one of the very good guys. Prayers to his family, to Frank, Godspeed." Dennis Haskins tweeted, "So sad to hear about Frank Gifford passing away. He will truly be missed." Lori Lofkin tweeted, "My heart and prayers go out to my friend at Kathy R. Gifford and her children, R.I.P. Frank Gifford." Carr Withers tweeted, "Frank Gifford, hashtag NFL icon RIP, hashtag BP Sunday." And Good Morning America's Robin Roberts tweeted, "So sad to hear that hashtag Frank Gifford had passed away. Honored to have worked with him and Jim McKay. Thinking about Kathy Lee." Nick Gordon, by Christina Brown's longtime boyfriend, whom she often referred to as her husband, is being accused of causing Brown's death. An amendment to an existing lawsuit filed against Gordon by Brown's court-appointed conservator, Bedelia Hargrove, claims that Gordon gave Brown a toxic cocktail of drugs and then put her face down in a tub of cold water. All this allegedly led to Brown's suffering significant brain damage and her eventual death. The original wrongful death lawsuit was filed on June 24th in the Fulton County Superior Court, claiming Gordon took money from her without authorization and abused her physically and emotionally. The amendment was filed Friday, raising the stakes by including a detailed scene of abuse. The amended complaint alleges that around 6 a.m. on January 31st, Gordon returned to their Atlanta area home after being out all night on a cocaine and drinking binge, and proceeded to review camera footage of Brown and listening to her conversations. The couple began arguing, moving around the house as Gordon reportedly accused Brown of cheating while calling her names. This lasted about 30 minutes before everything abruptly became quiet, the lawsuit alleges. The suit says that Gordon gave Bobby Christina a toxic cocktail, rendering her unconsciousness and then putting her face down in a tub of cold water, causing her to suffer brain damage. Gordon then came out of the master bedroom wearing a different set of clothes from what he'd been wearing before the argument, got in bed and laid his head on a female guest's ankle and told her, "Now I want a pretty white girl like you." The new amendment continues. About 15 minutes later, a guest went into the master bedroom to check on Brown and found her unconscious in the bathtub. Oddly, a dustpan was at the bottom of the tub. Bobby Christina was unresponsive, unconscious, and her mouth was swollen, and another tooth was hanging loosely from her mouth, the suit claims. It continues, Gordon joined them in the master bedroom, and the first thing he did was to let the water out, then shout, "Clean up, clean up." After others began trying to give Brown mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, Gordon allegedly slapped Brown, telling her to wake up while trying CPR between slaps. Eventually, medical personnel arrived at the scene and Gordon was transported to a hospital where she was revived and later placed into a medically induced coma. These are further allegations against Gordon as well. Those include further incidents of abuse, such as one day before January 31st, where it claims Gordon hit Brown in the face so hard it broke the couch she was sitting on, knocking her to the floor as he proceeded to attack her and kicked her until she was bloody, screaming in the fetal position. Brown's tooth was knocked out in this incident. The report goes on to claim Gordon demanded Brown to go upstairs when she could not walk there herself. He dragged her upstairs by her hair and threw her in the master bedroom, leaving blood on the walls of their staircase. After this, Gordon allegedly told to the people presented, "I don't do this often." It also repeats the past claims that Gordon had accessed Brown's bank account while she was in a coma and took more than $11 million without authorization. Brown died on July 26 at the age of 22 following nearly 6 months of hospitalization. She was the only child of the late Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. Among the criminal counts listed against Gordon, the lawsuit accuses Gordon of assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, conversion, wrongful death, and painful and suffering, seeking at least $10 million. At this time, no criminal charges have been filed against Gordon. Any testimony given by Gordon in this civil suit could later be used in a criminal case. Donald Trump is continuing to defend his remarks about Megyn Kelly following Thursday's Republican presidential primary debate. After Trump told CNN's Don Lemon on Friday that Kelly had blood coming out of her wherever, Trump called in to CNN's State of the Union on Sunday to say that criticism of his comment is off base. Trump told host Jake Tapper, "I cherish women. I want to help women." Trump dismissed the idea that his blood comment was referring to menstruation, instead claiming he was suggesting blood was coming out of Kelly's ears and nose. He said, "Only a deviant would say that. What I said was what they were referring to. You almost have to be sick to put that together." When Tapper asked Trump why some people have assumed that Trump was referencing menstruation, Trump asserted that most of the flack is coming from his opponents in that presidential race. Trump said, "That's a stupid question, Jake, in all due respect, because they're running against me. Some of them, like Carrie Fiorina, are very low in the polls." Tapper asked Trump about real estate's Eric Erickson bearing him from a Saturday event for his comments, with Trump replying by calling Erickson a loser. Trump added that he didn't want to attend the event to begin with. Tapper also suggested to Trump that this latest controversy could hurt his campaign because Kelly is beloved among conservative voters. Trump said, "I have nothing against Megyn Kelly," pointing out that he didn't appreciate Kelly's questioning during the debate regarding his previous comments about women. He said, "I think her question was extremely unfair to me. Her whole questioning was unfair to me. When you say beloved on social media, I'm the one that's beloved." Comedian Amy Schumer brought her new hit Trainwreck to Locarno Film Festival. The film played Saturday night on the Piazza Grande to a crowd of 8,000 in the Idyllic Swiss town. This comedian spoke to the European press about developing her own brand, the perception of male magazines versus female magazines, and the sexiness of humor. Schumer was also asked to comment on America's problem with gun control following the fatal shooting during a Trainwreck screening in Lafayette, Louisiana in late July. Schumer said in Locarno, "You know, it really is not my area of expertise, but it really upsets me. It felt really personal to me in terms of what's going on in our Congress and why this has been such an ongoing issue is very frustrating." As to the reason the U.S. can't get a hold of its gun control, Schumer responded, "I think it's money." She also added, "I just feel the need to get involved because of how personal that event felt and how upset it made me feel." On August 3rd, Schumer spoke with her second cousin, once removed, Senator Chuck Schumer, at a press conference in New York. They unveiled a 3-pronged attack on gun violence to push Congress towards background checks and mental health and substance abuse program funding. The actress also spoke to the topic of putting herself in a film. "This is based on my life. Personally, with all the alcohol and sleeping around, this was my behavior when I was in a lot of pain," she said, "and I lost my self-esteem. I don't think personally that behavior is healthy. I thought Samantha, the character in Sex and the City, if one of my friends were behaving like her, I would take her to the hospital. And for me, that's what I went through. And I realized I wasn't hurting just myself, but I was hurting everyone around me, including the people closest to me, for watching me be that destructive." She continued by saying, "The character's arc, which was also my arc, it is really hard to let someone love you. I think the journey that Amy goes through is that at the end, she looks at herself and realizes that she is worthy of love and she can modify her behavior." Bill Murray ain't afraid of no reboot. The actor who played Dr. Peter Venkman in Ghostbusters in 1984 and Ghostbusters 2 in 1989 will appear in director Paul Feig's upcoming installment of the franchise, the Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. Murray has been long resistant to star in the third Ghostbusters. He told David Letterman earlier this year that his hesitancy stems from Ghostbusters 2 not having been as well received as the first one. Feig's film, which is currently shooting, stars Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, and Chris Hemsworth. It hits theaters on July 22nd, 2016. Jon Stewart capped off his impressive Daily Show run Thursday night with a near-record 3.5 million viewers. That just leaves just shy of the 3.6 million viewer record set with the visit from then presidential candidate Barack Obama on the eve of the 2008 election. And considering how much more common DVR use is today, that number will likely be eclipsed after the first round time shifting. The episode has already added 1 million full episode streams online. Among adults 18 to 49, Stewart averaged 1.8 million viewers. The December swan song for Stewart's former time slot neighbor Stephen Colbert brought a record 2.5 million same-day viewers to that telecast, though Colbert was merely getting ready to migrate to CBS, not retiring from late night completely. It should be underestimated what The Daily Show has meant to Comedy Central under Stewart's stewardship. His audience has skewed younger than anyone else in the late night game, not to mention they're skewed wealthy and educated. The Daily Show will go on a break now, with 31-year-old Trevor Noah taking the host gig when it returns back on September 28th. Thursday was a big night of political junkies. In addition to Stewart's exit, the first GOP debate drew a record 24 million viewers to Fox Network channel. It is well known that pop star Taylor Swift looks out for her fans, but that doesn't make it any less remarkable. When a Swiftie remark posted to Tumblr lamenting over her loneliness, Swift replied with a lengthy note to make her feel better. What makes the incident more impressive, though, is that the fan didn't even tag Swift in her post. The fan, who goes by the name of Stormy on her Protecting Swift Tumblr account, wrote that she's been feeling very alone and left out and is dreading the first day of school. But she said just knowing Swift exists is comforting to her. Swift responded with a message that surely helped perk Stormy up a bit. She said, or wrote, "I hate that you're feeling this way, and it's so hard not to dwell on our fears and doubts because we want spoilers for how it's going to turn out. But in reality, we just have to go through life not knowing what's next," she wrote the fan. "It's scary, but it's also the wildest, most thrilling part of life. Just when you think it's going to get worse, it could get better instead. It will." She continued to thank Stormy for all the support she's previously shown the pop star and sought to similarly validate her. She wrote, "You've always been there with kind, thoughtful words for me when I'm down, and I just need you to know how important you are. Knowing your worth sometimes comes without any proof at all. You're worth more than flaky friends and people who dismiss you or underestimate you. Sometimes it seems like they all got you, but it's not all you will ever get. Believe that. Love you." The Grateful Dead's run of 5 sold-out shows earlier this summer billed as Fare Thee Well, and featuring Phish's Trey Anastasio, was not a final farewell after all. As previously reported by Billboard, 3 of the Dead's core 4 players, guitarist Bob Weir and drummers Mickey Hart and Bill Kreutzmann, plan to continue the party with John Mayer on guitar. Their first performance as Dead and Company is set for Halloween night, October 31st, at New York's Madison Square Garden, where the Grateful Dead had performed more than 50 times since its formation in 1965. Joining the group on bass is Otel Birdbridge of the Allman Brothers, and Aquarium Rescue Unit and Rat Dog keyboardist Jeff Chimeni, who played all 5 Farewell Thee shows along with Bruce Hornsby. Dead bassist Phil Lesh will sit out of this incarnation but continues with his own side outfit, Phil and Fred's. Weir tells Billboard on the decision that came with little deliberation, "Those songs weren't done with us. It was just a matter of who wanted to get back out on the road and keep doing it. Mayer's enthusiasm," he adds, "was the cherry on this sundae that made this project look like a good idea." Andy Mayer has been jamming with selected band members since March, learning the late Jerry Garcia's guitar parts by ear and immersing himself in the repertoire in hopes of possibly hitting the road. At the same time, he decided to bench an album he had started working on so he could devote all his time to the Dead. A relatively recent discoverer of the band, the Grammy-winning singer and songwriter, says his curiosity was piqued when he heard the Dead's 1980 classic Athea on a Pandora station back in 2011. Mayer explains, "I just love that riff. There's always that moment when you hear something that grabs you and you have a point of reference. That was mine. Now, 4 years later, it's what I call shaking the big Polaroid, really taking in and learning all that music." We're at it. It's gratefully to see someone discover our work, and it's also fun to have someone who's cranked up about it, a new innated into our way of doing things. And now let's look back at what happened on this date in entertainment history. On this date, in 1969, the 26-year-old actress Sharon Tate, the pregnant wife of acclaimed movie director Roman Polanski, is found murdered along with 4 other people at her Los Angeles home. The gruesome crime, in which the killers scrawled messages on the wall with the victim's blood, sent Hollywood into a state of panic. The criminal and cult leader Charles Manson and his followers, who lived together on the outskirts of L.A. in a commune where drug use and orgies were common, were later convicted for the murders. Tate, who was born on January 24, 1943 in Dallas, Texas, moved to L.A. in the early 60s to pursue acting and eventually appeared in such films as Eye of the Devil in 1966, The Fearless Vampire Killers in 1967, which was directed by Polanski, Valley of the Dolls in 1967, for which she was received a Golden Globe nomination, The Wrecking Crew in 1969, and The 13 Chairs in 1969. Tate and Polanski were married in January 1968. The director was out of the country on the night of August 8, 1969, when Tate, who was due to give birth in a matter of weeks, and her friends, including the Coffee Harris, Abigail Folger, and the celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring, were shot and stabbed to death at Tate and Polanski's rented home on Celio Drive in Benedict Canyon. The Tate-Polanski home reportedly was chosen as a target because Manson had unsuccessfully attempted to get a recording deal from a producer who used to live there. Manson's subsequent trial became a national spectacle during which he exhibited bizarre violent behavior. He was convicted and given the death penalty, a sentence that was commuted to life behind bars when the California Supreme Court overturned the death penalty law in 1972. Since his trial, Manson has become a criminal icon and the subject of numerous books and films, notably the best-selling 1974 true crime book, Helter Skelter, co-authored by Vincent Bugliosi, the Los Angeles County Attorney District Attorney who successfully prosecuted Manson and his followers. And also on this date in 1995, Jerry Garcia dies. Like his band, The Grateful Dead, which was still going strong 3 decades after his formation, Jerry Garcia defied his life expectancy not merely by surviving, but by thriving creatively and commercially into the 1990s far longer than most of his peers. His long, strange trip came to an end, however, on this day in 1995, when he died of a heart attack in a residential drug treatment facility in Forest Knolls, California. Legendary guitarist and a true icon, Jerry Garcia was 53 years old. From their early gig as the house band at King Kinsley's famous Acid Test, the Dead were a defining part of the San Francisco's burgeoning hippie counterculture scene. They would go on to play at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967 and at Woodstock in 1969, but as big as they were in the 60s and 70s, the Grateful Dead grew even more popular and successful as the decade they helped to define slipped further into the past. Indeed, during the final decade of Jerry Garcia's life, following his recovery from a 5-day diabetic coma in 1986, the Dead played an average of 100 to 150 live shows per year, frequently to sold-out audiences that include a significant proportion of tie-dye wearing college students who are not yet alive when the Grateful Dead first made their name. And that is your entertainment report for Monday, August 10th, 2015. I'm your host, Mr. Downtown Ray Melo. I'll be back tomorrow to deliver some major stories and trends going on in the world of entertainment and beyond. You can follow the show on Facebook or on Twitter, facebook.com/The Entertainment Report with Ray Melo. That's RAYMELO. Or on Twitter at The Enter Report. You can listen to the show anytime you want on iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeart.com, search for The Entertainment Report, and it'll take you to this page. Good night, and God bless you all.